is Hal Hartley, live from Sundance. It's a sequel to Henry Fool, which I made in 1997. Where at the end of that film, her husband, Henry Fool, goes missing, and now it's 7 years later, and it picks up the story from there. Yeah, that was a particular joy that I would never have had in another circumstance, working not only with the same actors that I'd worked with for a long time, that happens, but redoing these characters that we invented 10 years ago. That was real. I mean, we talk about these people now as if they're real, as if they're family members. Yeah. And of course, working with Parker, the big thing is that, this has been my ambition since 1991, was to make the movie for Parker. She's without doubt one of the most talented actresses I've ever come into contact with, and but it took me a long time to write the thing that I thought was the right thing for her. In 1997, when we made this character Faye in Henry Fool, I saw the beginnings of something that could be really extraordinary, and hopefully Faye Grimm is that. Tom, who played Henry Fool, and James, who played Simon Grimm, that was their very first motion picture. They were theater actors, so they had never been in a movie before, and I put them front and center in this movie. And they were fantastic, but they were learning every single day. James Urbaniak likes to say he can bring more to the table now. It's just not like, oh, Hal's the filmmaker and I'm a novice or something, which was never my attitude about those guys anyway. But it is true that in the beginning, he had to trust me a lot more when I told him, look here rather than here when you say that line. And now, he has it. I had no idea what was going on when I was here in 1990, 1991. It was such... We were so naive, very ambitious, but we were very naive, and just really didn't know what was going on. In retrospect, I can look at the articles in the newspaper, interviews and things from that time, and see that I had no idea that we were being paid attention to the extent that we were being paid attention to. I really didn't know that at the time. And I was just working constantly because I thought this whole thing was it was just a bubble that was going to burst any week. As soon as anybody found out, they were going to say, something's wrong. Who are these people? I have to say, shooting in HD doesn't seem any different to me than shooting in 35. I mean, Sarah Colley, who shot my film for me, we worked exactly the same way we do when we're shooting 35. I mean, in viewing, there is that strange thing that there's no moving grain on. But it's not an unattractive look or anything. It's quite it's a beautiful kind of thing. If I found it somehow inappropriate or unattractive, I'd avoid it. But in fact, it's different from film. It's not film, but it's a really cool image. It is different, but I still do very few takes. I'm glad we had that sort of upbringing with film, where you didn't waste film, and you didn't waste film by the way you did that was to prepare and rehearse and to, step into the dark and make a strong decision, about how to do things. Adrienne Shelly showed an interest in writing very early on in her career. We made our first 2 films together. She wanted a little bit more control over the kind of characters she would play. I don't think she was seeing films that addressed the kind of experience that she was having in the world as a woman at that time. And I think, she was encouraged in that by the movies we were making at that time, which we all hung out together and talked about it. But that was something that was very important to me too. As a young man, I felt like I wasn't seeing the movies that were talking about the world I lived in, and I wanted to create something that gave some evidence of that. And I think that kind of contributed to jogging her confidence to say, oh, okay, I'm going to start writing.
Her whole writing career, her dream of being a writer-director kind of happened today, in the sense that the film was sold. And that's my last question. What do you feel about this day for this person who's sort of connected with you forever, about her realizing her dream today in this sad way?
It's great. It couldn't be better. It couldn't be a better situation. And the only better situation would be if she were here with us, but that's that's not the case. So yeah, she would be ecstatic. She would be giggling a lot, and but she'd be totally focused on the next film. Totally, she'd be totally okay. That's great. Now let's move on and make another film. So it's great. She went out with a bang, I think.